Look at these guys in masks. Can you tell which one isn't human? It's the one on the left. Look closely, and you'll see that the skin around its eyes is green. Alice, Beth, Cece, and Diana are standing in line to get a new video game. Alice is standing between Beth and Cece. Cece is in front of two people, and Diana is in front of her. Can you say in which order the girls stand? There are four of them. If Cece is standing in front of two people and Diana is in front of her, then Diana is the first one and Cece is the second one. Then Alice is standing between Beth and Cece. So the third person is Alice and the last one is Beth. There are 10 students in class. 6 of them learn French and 7 people learn Spanish. If every student learns at least one foreign language, how many students learn both French and Spanish? Six plus 7 is 13. And since there are just 10 students, the additional 3 are the ones that learn both languages. A police officer was following a robber around the city. Suddenly, the criminal rushed toward a hospital and disappeared. When the police officer entered the building, she saw 3 people. One of them must be the robber, who had dressed up to pretend to be a doctor. Can you tell who the criminal is? It's the girl on the left. Look at her shoes. They're dirty. She didn't have time to clean or change them. Taya was getting ready for a job interview when the lights went off. She was in a rush and didn't have time to wait till the lights were back on. The girl was almost ready. She only needed to put on her socks and boots. Taya had socks of 3 different colors: black, white, and gray. She didn't care what color her socks would be, but she needed 2 socks of the same color. How many socks should Taya take to make sure there will be at least one matching pair? She just needs 4. Even if the first 3 are of different colors, the fourth one will either be black, white, or brown, matching one of the others. Devin takes a bath only on even days of the month. How many times a year does he take a bath? Well, let's see. Except for February, all months have 30 or 31 days. In a month, there are 15 even days. So, it's 15 multiplied by 11. In February, there are 28 or 29 days, which means 14 even days in any case. So, we add 14. In total, Devin takes a bath 179 times a year. It's an early Monday morning. William and Daniel are both driving to work. But who is doing something wrong? Daniel, look, he's driving way above the speed limit. Cassie and Fawn are also driving above the speed limit because they're in a hurry. Cassie is late for her interview, and Fawn is rushing to a hospital. Who's breaking more rules? Fawn. They're both driving way above the speed limit, but Fawn isn't wearing her seatbelt. Caspian and Delaney are getting ready for a summer barbecue party. It's Delaney's birthday. Caspian is cooking, and Delaney is busy with the decorations. Who is not very smart? Caspian. He's left the meat in the sun, and it's slowly going bad while he's cooking. Everly and Bridget are sisters, and they're both going out on a date tonight. They both play tennis, so they told their parents that they were going to practice. Who's worse at lying? Bridget. Both are dressed too fancy for the training, but at least Everly has a backpack and her equipment with her. Her parents will probably think she'll change later. Bridget doesn't even have her tennis racket with her. Nellie and Genesis are cleaning windows in their house. They're both in a pretty dangerous position now, hanging out of the windows. But who's in greater danger? Genesis. She's cleaning the window on a higher floor. Easton didn't let his daughter go to her friend's birthday party. He told her to do her homework instead. Karina's daughter had to spend all day in her bedroom too, instead of going to the movies. The teenagers came down to dinner at 7 o'clock. Whose daughter had snuck out of the house? Easton's. It's raining, and his daughter's hair is wet. She must have been outside. Esme was having a walk in the forest and got lost. She tried to find her way back, but instead, she stumbled across a witch's house. She petted a black cat and asked the witch to take her back home. The witch was busy with some math, and she had a riddle for Esme. If she solved it, she'd be free to go. If not, Esme would have to stay with the witch forever and do math with her. Using only pluses and minuses, Esme had to make this equation correct. Can you help her? Esme only needs 4 minuses. She should put them right there. In a parallel universe, people are only allowed to have fun and eat candies. No one ever reads or studies there. Mrs. Relham comes back home after a long day at a club. Her 3 daughters have spent the whole day at home. The woman asks them what they've been doing. Hannah answers she's been playing computer games all day long. Ellie says she's spent the day outside with her friends, playing in the park. Ava claims she's been in bed all day, doing nothing and eating cake. Still, Mrs. Relham can tell that one of her daughters is lying. That daughter actually spent the whole day studying. Who is it? It's Hannah. Take a closer look at her desk. There's an open book and a copybook. If she was playing computer games, they wouldn't be there. Emmeline was at her chemistry exam, trying to get an A. Unfortunately, the professor gave her a task that she couldn't solve. Then the professor asked her to crack a riddle to see if she could think fast. I have 3 daughters. Rain is now twice as old as Phoenix will be when Calliope is as old as Rain is now. Who is my oldest daughter, and who is the youngest? Can you help Emmeline crack this riddle? Rain is older than Phoenix and Calliope because in the future, Calliope will be the same age and Phoenix will be half as old. So obviously, Calliope is the middle sister and Phoenix is the youngest. 4 friends were driving to a neighboring city. The driver got distracted and got into a car crash. A police officer arrived and started an investigation. He asked who was driving, but no one wanted to take the blame. Then the officer inspected the car. Can you tell who was driving? The driver was the blonde girl. Look, there's a sweater on the driver's seat. She's the only one not wearing a jacket or a sweater, so it must belong to her. Let's test how attentive you are. Here's a ball and 3 cups. I'll put the ball here in the middle cup. Your task is to watch the ball and then tell me where it is. Ready? Go! So, where's the ball? Look, it's in here. Did you get it? Okay, let's try once again. Now I have 4 cups, and I'll be moving faster. I'm putting the ball right here. Watch it closely. So, where do you think the ball is? It's in this cup. Now let's make it extra hard and check if you can still get it. 5 cups, even faster than before. Ready? Here we go! So, now where's the ball? Yeah, it's right here. If you got it right, you have my absolute respect. Mrs. Lawrence has 4 children. 3 of them are daughters, Kennedy, Aurora, and Serenity. And 1 is her son, Everett. They are 13, 16, 20, and 21. Guess how old each of them is if the youngest child is a girl. Kennedy is older than Everett, and the sum of the ages of Kennedy and Aurora can be divided by 3. There are just 2 pairs of numbers that can be divided by 3, 13 and 20, and 16 and 20. Since Kennedy is older than Everett, he can't be the oldest child. So the oldest one is Serenity. Since the youngest one is a girl, and it can't be Kennedy, then the youngest one is Aurora. She must be 13. In this case, Kennedy is 20 years old, and Everett is 16. Mrs. Lewis came home after work and noticed that one of her daughters had made a sandwich, but hadn't cleaned up afterward. The woman went upstairs and saw that all 3 of her daughters were doing their homework. Abby, Ruby, and Nicole denied making a mess. Still, Mrs. Lewis knew who was guilty. How about you? Look at the kitchen attentively. There's some butter on the right side of the knife, which means that the person who made the sandwich was left-handed. Mrs. Lewis only has 1 left-handed daughter, and that's Nicole. 6 siblings, Ingram, Regala, Corona, Agnard, Ardumo, and Modnor, founded a magical school. A pair of siblings founded each house of this school, Rymeth, Madlo, and Demora. 1. Each house was founded by a brother and a sister. 2. Corona and Regala founded Rymeth and Madlo, but not necessarily in this order. 3. Ingram and Ardumo founded Madlo and Demora, but not necessarily in this order. 4. Agnard and Regala founded the same house. Who founded each house? Okay, let's look at conditions 2 and 3. Each of them mentions Madlo. Corona and Regala are sisters. This means that no matter which of them founded Madlo, this house already has the sister founder. It means that Madlo had to be founded by Ardumo. In this case, Ingram founded Demora. Agnar founded the house with Regala. So it must be Modnor who founded Demora with Ingram. It leaves us with Rymeth, founded by Agnard and Regala, while Corona and Arduino founded Madlo. Gotta love these names.
I've got a tricky riddle for you today. This is the question Elon Musk asks people who come to job interviews. Do you think you can solve it? Okay, let's check. I am somewhere on the surface of Earth. From the place where I stand, I walk 1 mile south, then 1 mile west, and then 1 mile north. I end up exactly where I started. Where am I? That's it. The interview has started. Will you get hired by Elon Musk? You can pause the video if you need more time to think. The trickiest part is that there may be several answers. One of them is that you're at the North Pole. Let's draw the trajectory. From the North Pole, you walk 1 mile south, then 1 mile west, And after that, 1 mile north. Look, it takes you back exactly where you are. It doesn't work with the South Pole because from there you can't go south. But how about drawing a circle close to the South Pole, which is exactly 1 mile long? Now go up from that circle, 1 mile to the north. Right, we can start here. So from this spot, we go 1 mile south, we reach the circle, then we can go 1 mile west, walking along the entire circle and ending up in the same spot. After that, we go 1 mile to the north again and end up exactly where we started. It can get even better. Let's draw a circle near the South Pole that's 1/2 mile long. Again, you can start 1 mile away from it. You go 1 mile to the south, reach the circle, go 1 mile west. You'll end up where you started, but you'll need to walk around the circle 2 times. The same works with a circle that's 1/3 of a mile long. You'll just walk around it 3 times in a row. It works with pretty much any other length of the circle, as long as it's 1 divided by n miles long, where n is a whole number. This way, after walking 1 mile south, you'll reach the circle, go around it n times, and then move 1 mile north. Every time, you'll come back to where you started. So, have you passed the interview? If not, no worries. I have some other riddles for you to practice. Off we go. A monkey, a squirrel, and a lizard are about to race up a coconut palm. Who will be the first to reach bananas? None of them! They'll be climbing the coconut tree. There are no bananas there. Leah, Danny, Callie, and Rhea stand one behind another this way. Leah can see Danny and Callie. Danny can see Callie. And Callie and Rhea can't see anyone. They're all wearing hats. The girls only know there are 2 black hats and 2 white hats. Any of them can shout out the color of their hat, and if it's right, they will all win. Who's going to be the first to figure out the color of her hat? Leah sees Danny and Callie. If both of them had hats of the same color, she'd know that for sure her hat was a different color. But they are black and white, so she can't be sure about her own hat. It means she'll stay silent. Danny will understand that since Leah is silent, her and Callie's hats are of different colors. She can see that Callie's hat is black, so she'll understand that her hat must be white. Kiana was having a vacation, and she decided to walk from Los Angeles to San Francisco to clear up her mind a bit. Wow, that's a walk. She only had 1 backpack and some money with her. Halfway through, she met 3 other travelers walking toward her, and each of them had a pet, a cat, a dog, and a guinea pig. How many creatures were walking to San Francisco? Just one, Kiana. The other travelers and their animals were going in the opposite direction, from San Francisco to Los Angeles. Oakley was participating in a game show. If she got the last question right, she'd get a big amount of money. Look at this picture of a bus that's somewhere on the road between New York and Boston. The question is, which city is the bus heading for? It seems like there's nothing in the picture that can help you figure it out, but it's not exactly so. You can see no door. It means that it's on the other side of the bus. And since bus doors are always on the right side, the vehicle must be facing us with its left side. This means it's going to Boston. Esme was having a walk in the forest and got lost. She tried to find her way back home, but instead she stumbled across a witch's house. She petted the cat she saw there and asked the witch to take her home. The witch was busy cleaning and had a riddle for Esme. There were 5 parts of a chain, and each of them had 3 links. What was the minimum number of links the witch should open to make it a one-piece chain? If you try to attach all the parts of a chain to one another, you'll need 4 links. But there's a way to fulfill the task by using just 3 links. Take one of the pieces and open its links. Then use them to connect the remaining 4 parts of the chain. A long time ago, in one old kingdom, There was a king who made a bizarre law every Friday. His new law was that every man in the kingdom had to shave off his beard. Otherwise, this person would be exiled. But in the kingdom, there was just one hairdresser. Everyone went to this professional, but the hairdresser had no one to go to. Still, everyone managed to follow the rules and no one was exiled. How is it possible? Well, the hairdresser was a woman. She didn't have a beard to shave. Another week, another law. This time, the king was in a good mood. So he declared, "Today, I partially forgive the prisoners in our jail. They'll have to serve only half of their sentence." But there were 3 prisoners who had been given a life sentence. How can you make sure that they serve only half of their sentence? They should be released every other day. This day, they'll spend 1 day in jail, the next in freedom. Then they go back, and so on for the rest of their lives. This way, half of the time, they will be free. Yvonne had 3 boxes with markers, a green one, a blue one, and a purple one. In the purple box, there were twice more markers than in the blue one. One day, Yvonne threw away 9 markers from the left box. Then she put half of the remaining markers in the green box. Can you tell the color of the left box? Since Yvonne took the markers in the green box, it can't be green. If the purple box had twice more markers than the blue one, then the number of markers inside was even. If she had taken 9 out of the purple box, the number of the remaining markers would be uneven, and Yvonne wouldn't be able to take half of them to put in the green box. So, the left box was blue. Kai was spending the evening with her boyfriend Ronan at his place. They were eating popcorn, and a movie was playing in the background. Suddenly, Kai decided to trick Ronan. "I bet there's a place in this room where I can sit and you can't, even if I get up." Ronan thought hard but couldn't figure out the answer. Then Kai showed him that the riddle did make sense. Where did she sit? Kai sat on Ronan's lap. An elderly lady had poor eyesight and needed assistance. She was living with her granddaughter, Cassie. One evening, Cassie was cooking dinner when she heard glass shatter. She ran into the room and asked what had happened. The window was broken. Her grandmother told her that some dark-eyed, dark-haired boy had thrown a stone into the window and then run away. Cassie didn't believe her. Why? The grandma had bad eyesight, but now she's not even wearing her glasses, so she could see neither the boy nor the color of his hair and eyes. Esme was walking in the forest, and you know what? She got lost again. As always, she found a witch's house and asked her to take her home. The witch had just invented a new game, but unfortunately, she had no partner. The witch said that if Esme won, she'd take her home. There were 37 matches on the table. Each player couldn't take more than 5 matches at once. The person who could take the last match would win. Esme could go first. What should her strategy be if she wanted to win? First, she should take 1 match. Then there are 36 left. After that, she should respond to each of the witch's moves by taking as many matchsticks so that when added up to the number the witch took was 6. Now, let's see if you can think outside the box. Mr. Adams opened the door, walked in, and shouted, "Hi, honey, I'm home," to greet his wife, Mrs. Adams. She immediately responded, "Hi, honey, I have dinner in the oven. Can you take a look at the kitchen clock and tell me what time it is?" Mr. Adams immediately called the police and said that his wife was in danger. What's a possible explanation for how he managed to understand that? Mr. Adams was blind. His wife, of course, knew that. If she wasn't in danger, she wouldn't ask him something he couldn't possibly do. So there. Kim and Ashley are best friends. They decided to spend summer vacation in Italy together. They were very lucky to buy cheap plane tickets. Their flight was at 10 a.m. Unfortunately, when the girls arrived at the airport, they realized it was the wrong one. Now they have two options. Take a high-speed train for $100 to go to the right airport, or stay here and buy tickets for a later flight for $400. What should they choose? The second option. Look at the clock on the wall. It's 9:55 a.m. The boarding for their flight is already over. They won't make it even if they take the high-speed train. Kim and Ashley bought new tickets. They went to the airport restaurant to drink coffee. But one weird detail scared Kim away. She suggested they should leave that place as soon as possible. What did Kim see? This woman over there is a zombie. Wow, how did she get through security? When it was finally time to board the plane, it turned out there were no more economy class seats left. Kim and Ashley were offered to fly in business class. There, the girls saw 3 people. When the flight attendant served them fresh juice, she whispered that Kim and Ashley were extremely lucky. They were about to travel next to a famous Italian billionaire. Can you guess which of these passengers is the billionaire? This glamorous lady is a good candidate, but it's very unlikely a billionaire will wear a 100% polyester coat. This guy's business suit is very elegant, but look at his shoes. They seem quite cheap and worn out. This funny gentleman must be the real billionaire. Although his outfit is rather casual, his gold watch looks very expensive. The glamorous lady began to chat with Kim and Ashley. She told them she had recently visited an exotic island with her friends. Then she showed the girls some pictures. When the lady went to the bathroom, Ashley whispered to Kim, "This woman is a liar. She photoshopped this picture." How did Ashley know that? It's all about the shadows. They all look natural except for this one. The glamorous lady took a sip of her juice and started coughing. Suddenly, she fainted and fell into the billionaire's arms. He was ready to shout for help, but Kim stopped him, saying the woman was faking it. How did she know that? Look at the content of her bag. It's full of the billionaire's pictures and magazine articles. She also has a tattoo with his portrait on her leg. This woman is obsessed with him. It was lunchtime, and the billionaire offered Kim to play a game. There were 3 boxes. One of them contained a meal. There was a statement on each box, but only one of them was true. Can you help Kim figure out which box has food inside? If the food is in the first box, there are 2 true statements. And if the food is in the third box, there are also 2 true statements. But we need just 1 true statement. That's why the food can only be in the second box. Kim opened the box. She saw a delicious meal and a bank card. The billionaire said, "Congratulations, you've won $5 million. Enjoy your trip." Kim and Ashley landed in Rome and went to get their luggage. It turned out that Ashley had had the same suitcase as 2 other passengers, and they had a little quarrel. Can you help distribute the 3 suitcases among these people? The first suitcase belongs to this woman. It's covered in her dog's hair. The second suitcase has some traces of a star sticker. You've probably noticed it before on Ashley's bag. And the third suitcase belongs to this man. Since Kim and Ashley were now very rich, they decided to find a real estate agent who could help them rent a luxurious villa.
Wow.
They wanted to spend their vacation there. The agent showed them 3 houses. Can you help the girls choose the best one? There are cockroaches in the first house. They won't make very pleasant neighbors. The second house is too old. There's a crack in the wall which doesn't look safe. And the third house looks pretty good. As for the pool, it can be easily cleaned.
Yes!
Kim and Ashley left the villa and went sightseeing. When they returned, They found out that someone had stolen their passports from the safe. The girls called the police and they interrogated 3 suspects. The chef was too busy making dinner for Kim and Ashley. The cleaner was dealing with the pool all day, and the gardener said he had been outside planting flowers. He didn't notice anything suspicious. Who's lying? The gardener. If he planted the flowers, where are they? The police returned Kim and Ashley their passports and arrested the gardener. The next day, the girls went shopping. Sellers wanted to take advantage of rich and naive tourists and offered them overpriced souvenirs. Only one of these 3 items is a good deal.
Oh.
Can you guess which one? Take a look at this Venetian mask. It says "Made in China," which means that this mask can't be real. This magnet is of very low quality. The word Italy is spelled with an error. It simply can't cost $100. This blue cheese doesn't look fresh, but it's normal for this kind of product. This delicacy is the only thing that Kim and Ashley can buy here for a fair price. The ladies went to the local museum and got lost in its corridors. They found a strange basement with 3 doors. There was a time portal to the Middle Ages behind the first door. Behind the second door, there was an evil mummy. It cursed anyone who bothered it. Finally, the third door was protected with a laser alarm system. It cut through anything that touched the laser beams. Which door should the girls choose? The second one. The mummy is sleeping peacefully inside its sarcophagus. If Kim and Ashley are quiet and don't come close, they can just walk by it. When the girls got outside, they saw a crowd of reporters around the museum. Someone has stolen the most expensive painting. The police questioned 3 suspects. Giovanni, the cleaner, said he had been washing the bathroom when the theft happened. Luca, the museum guide, saw a suspicious woman with a large folder not far from the crime scene. And Bianca, the suspicious woman, was just drawing sketches as part of her art school homework. Who's lying? Luca. He has a rolled canvas under his shirt. Kim and Ashley came to a restaurant to enjoy the local cuisine, but they noticed a vampire among the visitors, so the girls decided to leave. Which visitor is the vampire? This elderly lady is wearing sunglasses in the evening. Also, she doesn't have a shadow. Then Kim and Ashley took a boat trip. A local photographer took their picture and printed it on 2 similar t-shirts. Then he offered the girls to buy these souvenirs. But Kim noticed 3 differences between these pictures. Can you see them too? Here they are. The ladies came to a bakery. Kim ordered a salad and coffee, while Ashley wanted to eat something sweet. The barista offered her 3 remaining options. Help Ashley make the right choice. Someone has already tasted this cupcake. Ants live inside this donut. It's probably not very fresh. But this croissant is safe. The green color is pistachio glaze, not mold. In the evening, Kim and Ashley arrived at the villa. The owner was there and he was furious. He hadn't received any rental payment because Kim and Ashley's card presented by the billionaire was blocked. Suddenly, they heard breaking news on TV. Some scammers had robbed the billionaire. All his accounts were empty. 3 people commented on the situation. The billionaire's driver said his boss had many enemies. The billionaire's girlfriend complained that now she couldn't even afford a new haircut, and his PA said they would try to return the money soon. Ashley knew for sure that one of them was hiding something. But who? The girlfriend. If she had no money, how come she left the boutique with so many purchases? The owner of the villa offered Kim and Ashley a deal. If you manage to prepare my favorite cocktail, I'll forget about your debt. The girls had no choice, so they agreed. The man gave them the recipe, but the last ingredient was coded. Can you guess what ingredient it is? If you mix blue and yellow, you'll get green. So the ingredient must be green grapes. Next morning, Kim and Ashley woke up locked in a room with 2 doors as the only exit. If they chose the wrong door, they would stay in the room forever. And if they picked the correct door, they would end up with loads of jewelry, money, and designer clothing that would be enough for the rest of their lives.
Wow.
2 guards were standing in front of them. One guard always lied, while the other always told the truth. Kim and Ashley didn't know their identities. The girls could only ask one question. What should they ask? The question should be, if I asked the other guard which door leads to the treasures, what would he say? If they asked the guard who always tells the truth, he would say that the other guard would point to the wrong door. And if they asked the liar, he would point to the wrong door too. In either case, both guards would point to the wrong door. So Kim and Ashley should just choose the other door.
Tom was a college student. He worked as a delivery guy in his spare time to earn his living. One day, he got a task to deliver a mysterious black box to a seemingly abandoned lab. He picked up the box from an office building downtown, but when Tom tried to leave, he saw 3 doors. There was a bottomless pit behind the first door. Behind the second door, there was a tiny elevator. And the third door led to a room with no exit. What should Tom choose? Door number 2 is fine. Even if Tom is afraid of confined spaces, he can still get to the street and escape. Tom managed to break free and decided to deliver the box as soon as possible. At some point, he stopped to tie his shoelaces and put the box on a bench nearby. But when he finished with his shoelaces, he noticed that the box had disappeared. Tom looked around and saw a thief running away with the box. They were wearing a mask, so Tom couldn't see their face. Tom followed the thief to the library and saw 4 people in the reading room. Can you help Tom decide which one is the thief? This woman, the thief, had a scar on her left hand. Tom asked the woman to return the box. She said, "Okay, but first, you have to solve my riddle. Tomorrow, I am surely here. Yesterday, you can find me as well. Today, I am gone. What am I?" Tom gave his answer. The woman gave him the box and ran away. What did he say? The correct answer is the letter R. Tom was very hungry, so he decided to buy some food at a coffee shop nearby. The name of the coffee shop was 7 Lanterns, but Tom only noticed 5 lanterns hanging outside. Shelley, the owner of this coffee shop, knew about this mistake and could easily correct it, but she didn't. Why? When the wind blew away 2 lanterns some time ago, Shelley wanted to replace them. But before she could do that, she noticed that more and more people had started to come into her cafe. They told her that 2 lanterns were missing, and then they usually stayed to have some coffee. Tom bought a sandwich, left it on a table, and went to the bathroom to wash his hands. When he came back, he saw 3 people standing by his table, and the sandwich was gone. Can you guess who ate Tom's food? This guy over there. He left some crumbs. Tom decided to take a bus to get to the lab in time, but as soon as he took a seat, Tom noticed a vampire among the passengers. Can you see the vampire too? This woman over there. She's wearing an oversized hoodie to hide her sensitive skin from sunlight. It doesn't necessarily mean that she's a vampire, but the absence of any shadow is 100% proof. When Tom tried to pay for his bus ticket, he realized he had left his wallet at the coffee shop. Luckily, the driver said, "I won't call the police if you can solve my riddle." Tom agreed to this deal and listened to the riddle attentively. I make loud sounds when I change. After I change, I get bigger, but way less. What am I? Have you guessed? It's popcorn. Tom came back to the coffee shop to get his wallet back. Josh, the barista, claimed that he hadn't seen any wallets. Shelley, the owner, said that she had recently seen a suspicious customer with 2 wallets. And Bill, the customer with 2 wallets, said that the second wallet belonged to his wife. Who's lying? The barista. Take a look at his feet. He's standing on Tom's wallet. Shelley and Josh didn't want to involve the police, and Tom suggested playing a game. He told the barista, "I won't call the police if you solve my riddle. The more you take, the more you leave behind. What is it?" Unfortunately, the barista couldn't figure out the right answer and went to jail. The correct answer is footsteps. Tom was running out of time and decided to get to the lab by taxi. But his application went crazy and sent Tom this weird maze. The instructions said, if you want to know the numbers on the license plate of your taxi, solve this riddle. Can you help Tom? If we go through this maze from start to finish, we'll get to 517. Tom found his taxi and hit the road. The driver stopped in the middle of nowhere and took out a weird gadget. He opened a portal that transported Tom to the top of a mountain. There, he met his own evil twin from a parallel universe, and this twin wanted the box. Tom started running and fell into an ice cave with 3 tunnels. There was a hungry cougar inside the first tunnel. The second tunnel was full of bats that fed on human blood. And a dozen evil wizards were waiting for Tom inside the third tunnel. Which way should he choose? The second one. The bats are sleeping because it's daytime. Tom reached a little village in the woods and hid in a cabin. But then, he noticed something very creepy and ran away from that village immediately. What did he see? This glove over there is not actually a glove. This cabin probably belongs to zombies, not people. Tom found some road, stopped a truck, and asked the driver to take him to the nearest airport. But the man asked Tom to solve a riddle first. "I am known to bring bad luck when you see me in the dark, but I don't like the rain. But one thing's for sure, you won't hear me bark. What am I?" What should Tom answer to get a ride? A black cat. At the airport, Tom tried to buy a plane ticket back to New York, but he didn't have any money. Suddenly, Lily, a famous blogger and influencer, invited Tom into the business class lounge. She was celebrating her birthday with her friends. Unfortunately, their magic knife could only make 3 cuts. They couldn't figure out how to split the cake into 8 pieces. Can you? First, they should cut the cake in half. Then they can make another cut so that there are 4 equal pieces. Now they need to cut the cake sideways through the middle so that it has 2 layers. Now everybody has a piece except for Tom. But Lily gave him a more generous gift. She bought the guy a ticket to New York. Finally, Tom brought the mysterious box to the abandoned lab. He noticed a metal door and tried to open it. But the door was locked. A red sign appeared on a little screen next to the door. It asked for a password. There was a hint on the wall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can you help Tom crack the code? There are 17 spaces. After reading the number out loud, you'll get it. Type number 2, then number 4 3 times, number 6 5 times, and after that, 7 eighths. Voila! The light changed to green, and Tom entered the room. A scientist met Tom inside the lab. He locked all the doors as soon as Tom got inside. The man told Tom, "You're not going anywhere until I make sure the delivery is fine." But the box was empty. The scientist got furious and offered Tom to choose between 3 dangerous options to escape. There was a room with a wet floor and hanging wires behind the first door. Hungry monsters were waiting behind the second door. And there was a portal leading to an open space behind the third door. What door should Tom choose to survive? The first one. The wires don't touch the floor, and he can easily crawl under them. The scientist congratulated Tom and offered him another riddle to test his intelligence. Take away my first letter, and I still sound the same. Take away my last letter, I still sound the same. Take away my middle letter, and I will still sound the same. I am a 5-letter word. What am I? Do you know the correct answer? Empty. The scientist was satisfied and confessed that he had invented pills of immortality. He promised to give them to Tom if he succeeded in choosing the right box. There were 3 boxes and only one of them contained the pills. Each box had a statement on it, but only one was true. Can you help understand where the pills are? If the pills were in the first box, there would be 2 true statements, and if the pills were in the third box, there would also be 2 true statements. But since we only need 1 true statement, the pills can only be inside the second box. Tom opened the box and saw 4 pills. 2 of them were red, and 2 were blue. The scientist explained that Tom should eat 1 red pill and 1 blue pill at the same time to gain immortality. An overdose could cause the opposite effect. The scientist decided to give Tom 4 pills just in case one of them got lost. Tom put the pills in his pocket and left the lab. Suddenly, his evil twin opened a portal and grabbed Tom. He blindfolded him and threw him into an airtight room. Tom could move and had some oxygen, but for a very short time. So, he took the pills out. Unfortunately, he couldn't distinguish the colors or tell any difference between the 4 pills. What should Tom do to become immortal and save his life? The guy should break the pills and eat half of each pill.
Oliver was attacked in his flat and taken to the hospital. There are 4 suspects, all of them Oliver's neighbors. Wow, I'd find another apartment. Amelia said she'd been walking in the park since early morning. Henry explained he had been painting in his studio and had heard nothing. Jacob said he had been repairing his car. Sophia answered she'd been taking a bath for the past 3 hours. Look at these people's hands and try to figure out who's lying. It's a bit strange that Jacob, who was repairing his car, and Henry, who was painting, both have such clean hands. But they could be wearing gloves. On the other hand, Sophia's hands and fingers don't have wrinkles. But it would be a natural skin reaction after 3 hours in a bathtub. Sophia, you've been caught smooth-handed. The police found out there was a new smuggler in town. 3 people were under suspicion. Luna, a school bus driver, Jackson, a fire truck driver, and Daniel, an ambulance driver. All of them claimed to have been busy with their work since the very morning. Can you figure out who's the smuggler? Look at the car Daniel drives. On such vehicles, the word ambulance is normally written backward. It's done so that other drivers can instantly read the inverted word in their rearview mirrors. Well, it seems Daniel has given himself away. It was the day when Jacob was supposed to be discharged from the hospital. He had spent a couple of months there and underwent several surgeries. His doctor told him he was going to be fine. It was safe for Jacob to leave the hospital. But the guy didn't believe these promises. In low spirits, he walked home. On the way, he accidentally bumps into an elderly lady. She gets furious and started to shout at Jacob. But instead of arguing back, he hugged the woman and ran home. Why? Jacob had hearing loss. He didn't believe his problem could be helped. But when he heard the woman shouting at him, he realized the doctor had told him the truth. Maybe the doctor should have shouted. Chloe stayed late at the office that day. When she was driving home, the woman was worn out. At one moment, she even started to doze off. That's when it happened. She spun off the road and crashed through the fence that was on her way. She couldn't control the car anymore. It slipped down a steep hill and ended up in a lake. Chloe couldn't move her arms. They were stuck. She couldn't undo her seatbelt or open the door. The car sank to the bottom of the lake. Was Chloe doomed? Rescuers arrived 3 hours later. The woman was still in the car, but she was alive. How did she survive? After the car hit the bottom of the lake, the water only came up to Chloe's throat. It was a very shallow lake. Good thing, huh? It was Jack's birthday, and the fellow got a present he had been dreaming about for ages – a motorbike. The next morning, he rode his bike to college and left it at the parking lot. During lunchtime, Jack decided to check on his motorbike. Imagine his horror when he found out someone had broken the mirrors. The security guard told Jack only 3 other people had left his building in the afternoon. They were Owen and Sam, 2 best friends, and Layla, the girl who once liked Jack but got turned down by him. Owen said he and Sam had gone to the campus cafe to get sandwiches for lunch. Sam confirmed this. He then added the bike could have been damaged by Layla out of revenge. But Layla told Jack her mother had visited her and they had spent 2 hours together. So, who's lying? Owen has a paper bag with food delivery written on it. It means the guys ordered their lunch, not bought it in the cafe. They broke Jack's mirrors and tried to frame Layla. Not a good reflection on them, huh? Detective Taylor was chasing a dangerous criminal. Suddenly, the man entered a hospital. Oh no, there are hundreds of rooms there. Luckily, it was raining and the criminal left footprints on the hospital floor. The detective followed them and got into a small room. There were 3 people there, all covered in bandages from head to toe. But one of them was a fake patient. Who? It was the dude in the middle. He didn't even have a medical chart next to his bed. Very quick job on the bandages, though. The CEO of a large company called the police. He was sure that one of his employees, Victoria, had stolen a memory card with secret information. She was going to sell it to their competitors. The police arrived at Victoria's house, but the woman didn't let them in without a warrant. The officers had to leave to get all the necessary papers. By the time they were back, Victoria had already been sitting in her car, ready to drive off. The police officers arrested the woman. They searched her car and clothes, but found nothing. And then, when they were about to give up, one of the detectives realized where Victoria kept the memory card. Can you figure it out? When the police first came to her, the woman had her hair down. But after that, Victoria changed her hairstyle. The memory card is in her bun. Yep, Victoria and her sticky bun. Michael was going home from the gym when everything went black. When he regained consciousness, he found out he was in a locked room. Next to the door, there was a computer with a keyboard. On the screen, there was a riddle. Michael had to write the correct answer and the door would open. The riddle went like this. It makes 2 people out of 1. What is it? Michael typed the needed word and the door opened. He was free to go. What was the answer? It's a mirror. Oh, I was guessing a buzzsaw, but this one is better and not as messy. 2 best friends, Emily and Luna, came to a popular and expensive hair salon. At first, the administrator told the girls they had just one available hairstylist. But after making a phone call, she happily announced she had found another hairdresser. Emily and Luna could have their hair done at the same time. But in the process, it dawned on the girls that one of the hairstylists was fake. Which one? Both hairstylists are using regular scissors, but instead of hairspray, the one on the left is holding a can of bug spray. Yeah, that's a big clue right there. A man on a bike grabbed Sarah's bag with all her documents, money, and smartphone and sped off. The only way the girl can get her bag back is by taking someone's car and driving after the criminal. There are 3 vehicles parked nearby. Which one can Sarah break into and drive off? Borrow. A man is sitting in the blue car. That's no good. If she decides to take the red car, CCTV will spot her. Her only option is the brown vehicle. Oh, and Sarah, don't forget to return the wheels when you get your bag back, otherwise you'll be Grand Theft Sarah. Mary and her younger brother Alex were mushroom hunting in the forest. Wait, mushroom hunting? What do? Sneak up on them so they don't escape? Anyway, they started a quarrel. Alex got angry and ran away. After several minutes, Mary rushed after him. She was still fuming, but also worried. Soon, the girl reached a small river. A man was sitting on the shore. Did you see a teenager here?" Mary asked. "Yep, he's just taken a boat and made it to the other side." But Mary didn't believe the man. Why? The boat is indeed on the other side, but the paddles are lying next to the man. How could the boy cross the river without them? So, where's Alex? Kidnapped by the escaped mushrooms? We may never know. Ella came to a party that took place in her best friend's house. It was a riddle party. All the guests had to crack mysteries and participate in different challenges. Ella's task was to get out of a locked room in the basement. The girl was blindfolded, taken downstairs, and left alone. After pulling the piece of cloth off her eyes, Ella noticed the door had a code lock. She also spotted a sheet of paper lying on the floor next to the door. There were 4 flowers drawn there. Ella looked at them for a while and entered the correct code. The door opened and the girl joined the party. So, what was the code? Ella counted the petals on each flower. The code was 5748. Carter was visiting his friend Mateo, who lived in another city. Mateo loved riddles. In the evening, he challenged Carter to get the key to the guest room where the guy was supposed to be sleeping. Mateo dropped the key in the bucket filled with cold water and told Carter to get it. But he couldn't touch the water or use anything to pull the key out. That night, Carter slept in the guest room. How did he get the key? He put the bucket over a fire. The water started to boil and soon evaporated. After that, Carter picked the key up. Mateo was steamed. Nora was an insurance agent. Once, her client called her early in the morning. The woman was in tears. At night, someone had broken into her house. By the time the woman had enough courage to go downstairs, the thief had already taken all the valuables. When she looked out of the window, the man was running away. "Do you remember what he looked like?" Nora asked. The client answered, "It was still dark outside. I understood it was a man, tall and thin. He had dark hair and was wearing a V-neck t-shirt." Nora immediately realized her client had staged the burglary. How did she figure it out? It was dark, and the man was running away from the client's house. Then how could the woman see he was wearing a V-neck t-shirt? Beats me. A tragedy in the artist's house. Ryan was a famous artist. Unfortunately, when he was 60, he had an accident that left him blind. The man hired 3 people to help him: Jason, the driver, Laura, the housekeeper, and Timothy. He looked after the garden. One afternoon, Timothy went to talk to Ryan and found the artist on the floor. Someone had attacked him. The police arrived to investigate. Jason told him he and Ryan had had a great time in the morning playing computer games. Then he left to pick up Ryan's daughter from the airport. Laura said she'd spent all day in the kitchen cooking dinner. And Timothy said that before finding Ryan, he had been at the market choosing new fruit trees for the garden. Who is behind the attack? It was Jason. Ryan was blind and couldn't play computer games. Bizarre guests. When Melissa was traveling around Europe, she met several girls who were from the same city as her. They got along very well. When all of them returned from the trip, Melissa decided to organize a get-together and invited them to her house. The girls came with a big cake and lots of colorful balloons. But even before they touched the food or drinks, Melissa felt dizzy and lost consciousness. When the girl recovered, she was having a splitting headache. There was nobody around, and all her money and other valuables were missing. Melissa looked at the photos taken before she fainted. After examining them for a couple of minutes, she understood what had happened. Can you figure it out? There was sleeping gas in the balloons. The other girls must have put on face masks not to be affected by the gas. When Melissa lost consciousness, they took all her expensive stuff and left. Wow, time to get some better friends, huh? A mysterious disappearance. Stephen called the police and told him his wife Lisa was missing. She called her husband at 8 in the evening and told him she was about to go home, but she never arrived. The police questioned 3 suspects. Ashley, Lisa's best friend, said she had just returned from her vacation. Mark, the neighbor, was sure he'd seen Lisa in the afternoon, driving off in her car. And Paul, Lisa's colleague, told the police he'd spotted the woman in a shopping mall in the evening. Who's lying? Paul knows something about Lisa's whereabouts. The woman wasn't in the shopping mall that night. She was at a movie theater. A call to the police. Amanda was going through a deserted park when someone hit her on the head. When she recovered, her bag, along with her phone, money, and documents, were gone. There were no people around but for one elderly lady. Amanda rushed toward her, explained the situation, and asked to call the police. The lady told her not to worry and started to press 911 on her phone. After talking for a minute, she said, "They're going to be here in no time." As soon as Amanda heard these words, she sprinted off. Why? Amanda saw the lady's phone didn't have any signal. Then how could she call the police? A suspicious senior citizen. A date. Betty was on cloud 9 after 2 guys asked her out. But she felt she couldn't give hope to both of them. She had to choose one. Stephen was her secret crush. From a rich family, handsome and smart. She'd been dreaming about him for a year. John was a good guy too. She knew for sure he was kind and funny. The girl was at a loss. Which one should she pick? Any ideas? Betty should go for John. Stephen isn't serious about her. He has a lipstick mark on his neck, left there by Stanley. So yeah, better choose John. A bizarre code. Brian's friends invited him to spend the summer vacation in Europe with them. Unfortunately, the guy had serious study problems. To punish him, his dad took his passport away and locked it in a safe. The only way for Brian to get his documents and have some fun was to crack the code. Yeah, we still don't want to crack the books, huh? When he sneaked into his dad's study, he saw a piece of paper stuck to the safe. There were 3 drawings on it: a rose, a rainbow, a calico cat, and a banana. Brian thought for a while and then pressed 4 numbers. The code was correct and the safe opened. Which numbers were they? 2731. Each digit corresponds to the numbers of colors of the objects in the picture. An anxious husband. A man called the police. He could hardly talk. "My wife! She got into a car accident!" When the police arrived, the woman had been already rushed to a hospital. The detectives found out that she had crashed into a tree right next to her house. The car was beyond repair. One of the police officers examined the vehicle and saw the woman's bag. Inside, he found her driver's license and car keys, some money and bank cards, a notebook and her passport. After that, the husband was immediately arrested. Why? How could the woman's car key be in her bag if she was driving? That's a good question. Find the thief. Detective Lawrence was walking along the street when he heard someone screaming. He rushed over there and saw a teenager crying. "What happened?" "I was talking to my friend when someone grabbed my phone and pushed me to the ground. When I came to my senses, there was no one around, but I saw that cafe's door closing." The detective entered the cafe the girl was talking about and looked around. There were 5 people inside. All of them seemed to be rather decent. Can you figure out who's the criminal? It's the man near the coffee machine. His drink is still steaming. It means he just bought it. A crime in the neighborhood. One day, Mr. Martin called the police. His car was stolen right from the street outside his house. The detective questioned 3 suspects. Eric, a teenager who lived next door, said he had been at school and had seen nothing suspicious. Amy, a young artist renting a house across the street, had been too engrossed in her work to pay attention to her surroundings. But Mr. Brandon, an elderly man whose house was next to Amy's, accused Eric of taking the car. Mr. Brandon was having his breakfast when he saw the teenager get into the vehicle and drive off. Strangely, after his words, the police officers arrested the elderly man. Why? The only thing Mr. Brandon could see out of his window during breakfast was his tall brick wall. Desperate for help. Kenneth, a newbie police officer, was walking along the street, proudly wearing his uniform. Suddenly, a pretty girl rushed toward him. "Help!" she screamed. "I've been mugged!" After Kenneth made her calm down, the girl told him her story. "I was walking home from college when a man ran up to me. He hit me in the eye and took all my jewelry and money." When Kenneth heard this, he immediately realized the girl was lying. How? The girl was wearing glasses. If the criminal had hit her in the eye, her glasses would have been shattered. A runaway wife. Sharon's husband was a wealthy businessman. He never had time for his wife. One day, the young woman had enough. She took some money and ran away. She knew it wouldn't be difficult for her husband to find her. That's why she tried to be as discreet as possible. The next hotel where she checked in was good, but nothing special. She hardly had enough time to unpack her things when someone knocked on the door. The man said he was from the reception. But when Sharon opened the door, she realized her husband's people had found her. How did she figure it out? The man's uniform was different from the one the hotel receptionists were wearing. A missing collection. Mr. Bernard had an unusual hobby. He collected rare watches. One day, he came home and discovered his collection was gone. He called the police. They decided to start by questioning the man's neighbors. George said he had a busy day – meetings, video conferences, emails. Anna told police she had been feeling unwell since the very morning. She canceled all her plans and stayed in bed. Jason said his car had broken down and he'd been repairing it for the whole day. One person seemed suspicious enough for the police to arrest them. Who was it? Anna was lying. Look at her, all dressed up, wearing accessories and makeup. She doesn't look like a person who has spent all day in bed. A blatant lie. A famous pop singer, Anthony Black, was attacked after his concert. He was taken to a hospital. The police questioned several of his fans. Linda was crying. "I took Anthony's autograph and couldn't wait to boast to my friends about it." Lisa said, "I asked Mr. Black to sign his photo. After I got it, I went to buy a coffee." Jason added, "Anthony was super nice and friendly. I didn't notice anything strange." The police immediately arrested the fan who seemed suspicious. Who was it? It was Lisa. The autograph in the photo looks different from the singer's real signature.
They say seeing is believing, but is it really? Optical illusions have a mind-boggling way to trick our brains. They use a combination of color, light, or particular patterns that can make us see things that aren't there. Today, we're taking our brains for a test drive and seeing how these illusions work. Let's start easy. Behind all of these little black dots, there's an image. Are you part of the 1% of people that can see it? It's a minion. Congrats if you spotted that. Here's another one in this style. Can you see what's hidden here? It's a ninja turtle. Honestly, you did need to be a bit of a ninja to see that one. And what about this one? It's Homer Simpson. So now there's something hidden behind black stripes. How's your X-ray vision working? You got it if you said it's one of the dragons from How to Train Your Dragon. That's cute. We're moving on to phase 2, so this will get a little bit trickier, okay? Your task is to find the fourth object in each image. You have 7 seconds to spot all 4 items. 3, 2, 1, go! Did anyone find the straw by any chance? Anyways, could you spot the nail? What was hardest for you to find? The egg or the button? So now we're going to step up our game. This is medium level difficulty and you'll have 7 seconds to find all 4 items. Ready? Go! Did anyone find the French fries? I sure didn't. Up next, 4 women and a baby. Yikes, this is hard. Could anyone spot the hair comb? Here's another one for you. Where on earth was that banana hiding? Good luck with this next one. So the envelope is hiding behind the bathroom pipe. I love black and white. But I'm still searching for that white egg, if you ask me. If this were my room, my mom would be telling me to clean it up ASAP. It took me a while to find that little birdie, but the mission was successful. Good morning, y'all. Oh, bummer, I couldn't find the book. Could you? What object can't you find here? I had trouble locating the brush. Too many details, too little time. I have to say, you do have a pretty good eye for detail, but we're changing the game now. So now, it's emoji time. You'll have 4 seconds in this round. Did you see that one of them didn't have laughing tears? Where's the really sad emoji? And here I was thinking that clowns were supposed to be happy. I guess we all have our bad days, huh? What about this one? Oh, it's the browless one, isn't it? Can you spot the odd one? Oh, so it's a dairy-free burger. There's one with a different grin on its face. That's the one. I think your eyes are pretty warmed up now. So we'll move on to some hard-level optical illusions, okay? This first one is called the impossible triangle. But wait, what makes it so impossible? You have 7 seconds to figure that out. The so-called Penrose triangle is also known as the impossible triangle because it could never exist in reality. This magical triangle defies the laws of Euclidean geometry. If you follow the ball sliding on the surface of the triangle from the top point, you'll notice something strange. It looks like the left side of the triangle is extending away from the viewer, while the right side is closer to you. The Penrose triangle is the type of geometrical figure that can only exist as an optical illusion because this is what it looks like if we dismember it. Not a triangle at all, huh? And this next illusion is called the Pac-Man Chaser. You'll see why. Stare at the central cross for 5 seconds. The image appears to be in motion, doesn't it? And you might also see a green disc appear in between the lilac spheres from time to time. Now, this image allows us to witness 2 illusions simultaneously. Firstly, although the image appears to be in continuous motion, nothing here is moving, we promise. This phenomenon is known as the phi phenomenon. It happens when stationary objects are placed side by side and illuminated rapidly one after another, creating an illusion of movement. Now look at the center of the image again. Can you see the green disc? This second illusion is called an afterimage, and this happens when your brain tries to substitute an item with something else as the original item disappears. But why is it green, you might ask? That's because green is lilac's complementary color. If we were to change the color of the disc to blue, then the color of the gap changes to yellow, which is blue's complementary color. Neat, right? Can you stare at this parrot's eye for 15 seconds? Just keep staring at it. I'll tell you when you can close your eyes. You're about to witness another example of an afterimage. 3, 2, 1, and close your eyes. Can you see a red parrot? Isn't it amazing that even though this parrot is black and white, you have the illusion of seeing the color red? Again, this is just your brain trying to guess the color of something. Don't these snakes move beautifully? Except that, they're actually stationary. This classic optical illusion is caused by repeating asymmetrical patterns together with specific color schemes. The illusion mixes lighter colors like yellow and white with darker shades of blue and black. This combination makes your retina send signals to your brain, claiming that these circles are moving. If you want to debunk this illusion and see things as they really are, you need to stare straight at one part of the image. This way, you'll see that the rotation will slowly come to a stop. Take a look at this image. It looks like the square in the middle is breathing, right? Like it's growing in size and then shrinking? What if I told you that it's just rotating, but not changing its size? Here's what's happening. This illusion is called motion binding. It happens when our brain tries to predict the movement of one of the elements in the image. Crazy stuff! This one's another example of a motion binding illusion. These 4 bars seem to be moving in parallel with each other, right? Wrong! They are all part of the same moving square. Here's what's happening behind the scenes. Our brain just gets confused. How many bars can you count here? This illusion has left the internet baffled. People have counted as many as 11 bars, but most people count between 8 and 7 bars. According to the creator of this image, there are only 6 complete bars. Try counting from top to bottom and you'll notice that the upper bars are real. But by the time you get to the sixth bar, things start to get blurry and confusing. That's because the last two bars are incomplete. So when you try making them out, they appear to multiply and only leave you more confused. If you trace your pointer down the seventh and eighth bars, you'll be able to see that they are incomplete. They were only put there to confuse you. Can you tell if the dark blue lines are parallel to each other or inclined? They sure look crooked, but in reality they are not. This classic optical illusion was first described over 100 years ago, but it wasn't until the 1970s that it got its current name, the cafe wall illusion. A guy named Steve Simpson noticed a similar effect on the wall of a cafe in Bristol, and here we are. Now let's see how this works. First, let's blur the image a little bit. Oh, a little bit more. There you go. This way you'll be able to see that the dark blue lines are parallel to each other. If you look closely, the little black and white bricks at the intersection of wide lines are what makes this illusion possible. In addition to that, the curved elements inside the blue lines help to make the elusive effect even stronger. If you look at this image attentively, you'll notice a moving square that appears to be changing in tone. What shades do you see? Dark, then light, then dark again? Wrong. The square doesn't change at all. The creator of this illusion is Japanese psychologist and artist Akiyoshi Kitaoka. According to him, you can see your own brain changing its guess about the color of the square. Color is already an illusion created by our brains. It so happens that color is created inside our visual systems. What our eyes perceive as blue is actually a wavelength that is reflected as that color. Moving on, take a look at this staircase. It looks pretty simple, right? Well, now let's flip the image upside down. It still looks like a staircase, but instead of going from right to left, it looks like it's going from left to right. But don't blink. If you blink, the illusion will disappear, and you will be left with the original image. Whoa. This illusion is known as Schroeder's staircase, and it was invented by German scientist Heinrich Schroeder back in 1858. It's simple, yet it reveals a fundamental mechanism of how our brain works. If we dismember the staircase, you'll notice that the image is flat. What our brain perceives as a 3D image is just a combination of shadow and light. This means that the 3D itself is already an optical illusion. This happens because our brain captures images and tries to fit them into what it already knows. So it sees a shadow in a 2D image and understands depth. Basically, it creates an unreal perspective of the object in front of our eyes. In this case, we call it a three-dimensional perspective. Up next, look at this black square crisscrossed with perpendicular white lines. If you look attentively, you'll notice that the white dots, situated at the intersection of the grid, shift their color from white to gray and back. When you concentrate on a particular dot, you see that it's white, but as soon as your attention wanders, the dot turns gray. That's the Hermann grid illusion. Amazing, isn't it? We can take this illusion one step further by positioning white dots at the intersection of gray lines. All are placed on top of the black background. If you look at this image long enough, you'll notice black dots starting to pop up at the intersections of the grid, creating a scintillating effect. Another name for this illusion is a simultaneous light contrast illusion. As you perceive the dots as white at one moment, and then, almost immediately, you see them as black. So why do our senses let us down by making us see gray or black instead of white? This illusion demonstrates one of the most important principles of human perception. You don't always see things for what they are. The retinal cells in our eyes act as light receptors. When only one receptor gets illuminated, it perceives more light than when its colleagues are also illuminated. This prevents the firing of nearby receptors. With the Hermann grid illusion, the white lines are arranged in such a way that there's more light around the intersections than along the lines themselves. Thus, the dots at the intersections are more inhibited, and you see darker spots. What do you say? Did your eyes pass the test? I guess mine did, but my brain is a little bit tired. See you next time.
Ready to unlock the mysteries of your personality and uncover what makes you, well, you? This personality test will help you reveal your strongest and weakest points. All you need is a notebook and a pen, but you can also use notes on your phone. Let's go! So imagine you've just had an unpleasant conversation at school or at work. How do you typically react in stressful situations? A. Remain calm and composed. I don't usually stress out. B. Become anxious and overwhelmed. I can even burst into tears when stressed. C. Take charge and become assertive. D. Withdraw and seek solitude. I need some privacy. How do you prefer to spend your free time? A. Engaging in creative activities like painting, DIYs, you name it. B. Socializing with friends or attending events. I like being in the center of people's attention. C. Pursuing physical activities or sports. I can't imagine my life without going to the gym. D. Enjoying solitude and quiet activities. Picture it. You gotta make a super important decision. When making it, what would you rely on the most? A. Logic and reasoning. B. Gut instinct or intuition. I trust my senses. They never fail. C. Seeking advice from others. They might have experienced something similar, so they can help. D. Considering my past experiences. We all get criticized sometimes. How do you handle criticism? A. Reflect on it and use it constructively. I mean, criticism can help me improve. B. Take it personally and feel hurt. People often say things I don't want to hear. C. Defend yourself and provide counter-arguments. Who are they to judge me? D. Brush it off and not let it affect you. I just don't care about what others think. How would you describe your approach to work or tasks? A. Detail-oriented and organized. B. Flexible and adaptable. C. Competitive and goal-oriented. D. Independent and self-motivated. How would you describe yourself in social situations like when you hang out with your friends? A. Reserved and introverted. It can be hard for me to communicate with people, especially when I'm in a new environment. B. Outgoing and extroverted. I'm the soul of the party. C. Assertive and confident. However, many people think I'm pretty introverted. D. Observant and analytical. It might take some time before I feel confident with new people. How do you handle unexpected changes or disruptions to your plans? A. Adapt quickly and find alternative solutions. B. Feel frustrated and struggle to adjust. C. Take charge and lead others through the changes. D. Analyze the situation before deciding on the next steps. What motivates you the most? A. Personal growth and learning. B. Recognition and praise from others. C. Achieving goals and success. D. Independence and freedom. How do you prefer to communicate with others? A. In writing, e.g., emails or texts. Phone calls terrify me. B. Face-to-face conversations. There's nothing better than looking into someone's eyes. C. Phone calls or video chats. This way you can look into people's eyes without leaving your bedroom. D. It depends on the situation or person. How do you handle disagreements or conflict with others? A. Seek compromise and find a middle ground. B. Avoid confrontation and try to keep the peace. I can't stand conflicts. C. Stand your ground and defend your position. D. Analyze the situation objectively and propose solutions. When starting a new project, how do you typically approach it? A. Create a detailed plan and follow it step by step. B. Dive right in and figure things out along the way. C. Set clear goals and deadlines to stay on track. D. Gather information and analyze before taking action. How do you prefer to learn new things? A. Reading books or articles. B. Hands-on experience and trial and error. C. Attending workshops or classes. D. Observing others or receiving instructions. How do you handle unexpected compliments? A. Accept them graciously and appreciate them. B. Feel slightly uncomfortable but thank the person. C. Brush them off and downplay their significance. D. Analyze the intention behind the compliment. What is your attitude towards rules and regulations? A. They're important for maintaining order. B. They can be restrictive and should be flexible. C. They're necessary for fair competition. D. They should be questioned and revised if necessary. How do you handle a large workload or multiple tasks? A. Prioritize them and break them down into manageable parts. B. Multitask and work on several things simultaneously. C. Compete with yourself to complete them quickly. D. Work independently and at your own pace. How do you handle failure or setbacks? A. Analyze what went wrong and learn from it. B. Feel disappointed but move on quickly. C. Take it personally and dwell on it for some time. D. View it as an opportunity to try a different approach. How do you approach meeting new people? A. Observe and listen before actively participating. B. Eagerly introduce yourself and initiate conversations. C. Take charge and lead the conversation. D. Engage in small talk and find common ground. How do you handle tasks that require attention to detail? A. Enjoy them and find satisfaction in precision. B. Find them tedious, but complete them diligently. C. Delegate them to others if possible. D. Prefer tasks that involve big-picture thinking. How do you handle unexpected praise or recognition? A. Appreciate it but remain humble. B. Feel proud and share it with others. After all, I deserve it. C. Use it as motivation to achieve even more. D. Analyze the motives behind the praise. Did they really mean to praise me? How do you typically approach a problem-solving situation? A. Analyze the situation and gather information first. B. Trust your instincts and make quick decisions. C. Seek input from others and collaborate on solutions. D. Break the problem down into smaller parts. How do you handle criticism of your ideas or opinions? A. Listen to it openly and consider alternative viewpoints. B. Feel defensive and struggle to accept it. C. Argue your point and provide evidence to support it. D. Reflect on it and adjust your ideas if necessary. How do you handle being in the spotlight or at the center of attention? A. Feel uncomfortable and prefer to stay in the background. B. Enjoy it and thrive in social situations. C. Take charge and lead others effectively. D. Observe and analyze the situation before participating. How do you participate planning for the future? A. Create detailed plans and set specific goals. B. Keep your options open and go with the flow. C. Set ambitious goals and work hard to achieve them. D. Analyze different scenarios and prepare accordingly. How do you handle personal or professional conflicts? A. Seek resolution through open communication and compromise. B. Avoid confrontation and hope the issue resolves itself. C. Assert yourself and fight for what you believe is right. D. Analyze the situation objectively before deciding on action. How do you handle unexpected changes in routine or plans? A. Adapt quickly and find alternative solutions. B. Feel frustrated and struggle to adjust. C. Take charge and lead others through the changes. D. Analyze the situation before deciding on the next steps. Once you've completed the personality test, assign points to each answer as follows. A equals 1 point. B equals 2 points. C equals 3 points. 4 equals 4 points. So sum up all the points to see your total score. If you've got 25 to 50 points, it means you're reserved and introverted. You're a deep thinker and have a rich inner world. While you may not seek out social interactions, you can form deep and meaningful connections with others once you feel comfortable and trust has been established. If you got 51 to 75 points, you're outgoing and extroverted. You're confident, approachable, and many people around you think you're cool. You often bring a sense of excitement and liveliness to social interactions. If you've got 76 to 100 points, you're assertive and confident. You strike a balance between being respectful to others and advocating for yourself. Finally, if you've got 101 to 125 points, you're observant and analytical. You think critically and you excel at breaking down complex problems into smaller components, allowing you to thoroughly evaluate each part and understand the bigger picture. Noah reported to the police that someone had stolen his red motorbike the previous night, right out of his garage. The police started to search for it and tracked 3 main suspects. Take a look at them. Which one of them stole Noah's motorbike? It's this guy on the right. Look closely. His motorbike is painted, but the paint is a bit dripped, and you can spot the old red color. He must have stolen it and painted it in a different color to not attract any attention, but you caught him. Great job! Now your task will be able to decide which person of the two is in the wrong. Ready? Here's the first one. Belle and Emma are both running late for school, so they're taking a shortcut. Belle decided to walk through the woods, and Emma chose to cross a frozen lake. Who is in danger? Emma, look, there are cracks on the ice surface of the lake. Nicole and Diana are spending time with their families. Nicole is playing board games with her dad, and Diana is watching a movie with her sister. Which one of them is doing something wrong? Nicole. She forgot about the food that she was cooking in the oven, and now it's burning. Pamela is getting ready for a business meeting at 12 o'clock. William is driving to pick up his mother from the airport. Her plane arrives in half an hour. Who missed something? Pamela. She must have confused the time. The meeting was at 12 o'clock, but it's already 12:30. It's early morning on the first day of school after the spring break. Ren and Caden are driving their daughters to school. Who is not being smart? Caden. His daughter isn't even in the car. Sophie and Ruby were having a picnic outside when it got dark. They packed their things and took off to go home and watch a movie. Who is wrong? Ruby. She left her bag on the grass. Look, her name is written on the badge. Ava and Maeve went camping in the forest. Suddenly, they noticed a moose moving towards them. Who's in greater danger? Ava for sure. She's wearing heels. Who wears heels on a forest walk? So she will run slower. Tommy went to the police and reported that he had been robbed on the street, right on the way to the bank. Here's what he said. I was going to the bank to pay back the rest of my credit. In the park, about halfway between my house and the bank, someone approached me from the back and hit me on the head. I think I was unconscious for a while. When I came back to my senses, the money was gone. I remember that the person was wearing a black hoodie and had blonde hair, but I can't say more. The detective didn't believe him. Why? Tommy said that the robber had approached him from the back and hit him, and then he had fallen unconscious. Still, he managed to give some specific details about the robber's appearance. But if it had really happened, he wouldn't have been able to see him and remember the details. Several girls went missing in a small town. The police had been looking for them for many months but couldn't find any traces. One day, they finally managed to follow the kidnapper and found the place where the girls were kept hostage. When they entered the place, there were just 3 girls. They all said that they had been locked in a small room and had never left it. The detective knew that one of them must have been the kidnapper. The first girl said that her name was Annika and that she had spent the last year there. The second girl, Amelia, said that she'd spent about half a year there. The third girl said that her name was Flora and that she'd spent about 9 months at that place. Can you guess who's lying? Amelia is lying. Look, her hair is definitely freshly cut. The other girl's hair is a mess. It doesn't look like there's a hair studio down there, so she went out, unlike the other 2. Let's test how sharp your eyes are. I will show you different objects, and your task is to find the correct shadow. Wanna try? Let's go. Here's the first one. Can you find the right shadow of this plant? Yes, it's right here. Great job. So here's another one for you. Pay attention. Look, here it is. Now let's make it harder. Can you find the right shadows here? It's this one. Now look at the pictures I'll show you and try to find the odd one out. Yep, it's right here. Here's another one for you. Do you see it? Look, here it is. Level up. Here are some animals. All of them have a duplicate but one. Which one is a singleton? It's this one. A long time ago in what is now Sweden, a princess was kidnapped. The kidnappers locked her in a small room on one little island surrounded by a huge lake. Even if she managed to get out of the room, she wouldn't be able to cross it, so she was safely hidden there. and only once a month someone would bring her food. There was nothing on the island, and she couldn't build anything to swim. Still, after half a year of being held hostage, she escaped and returned back home safely. How did she manage to do it? It happened where Sweden is now, so it was up north. It's cold there in the winter, and the water freezes. When the winter came and the lake turned to ice, the princess was able to cross it. While Mr. York, a rich gentleman, was out on his 3-month vacation, his mansion was robbed. The security was notified and the detective started the investigation. There were 3 people caught on the security camera. Hudson, the owner's old friend, said that he'd come to collect the post. Leo, the cleaning man, said that he had come 3 days ago to clean the house. Maverick, the gardener, said that he had come every week to take care of the garden and the houseplants. All of them denied stealing anything. Who's the robber? It's the gardener. If he was taking such good care of the plants, why does the garden look like a mess and the plants in the house are all dried out? For English class, the students were supposed to read a classic English book. The teacher said that there would be no test, just a discussion. But he wanted them to take it seriously. 1 month later in class, he asked who had read the book. Only 3 students raised their hands. Still, the teacher knew that one of them was lying. Who didn't read the book? It's this student. The copies of the other 2 students' books are definitely used. Look, their spines are bent. But this student's book looks absolutely new and perfect. In the morning, a big sum of money in the office went missing from the accountant's bureau. 3 people were in the office at the time. Haley, the accountant, said that she'd left for several minutes to go to the bathroom. Eric, the software manager, said that he'd been busy with his work. But even if he wanted, he couldn't possibly have done it because the key hadn't even been there. Joseph, the cleaning man, said that he'd been cleaning the 2nd floor at the time. Can you tell who's lying? It's Eric. Why was he so confident that the key wasn't there? He knew it because he saw it. And probably he had a duplicate key to open it. Now I'll show you some photos, and your task will be to guess what's wrong with them. Let's begin. Here's the first one for you. Look, there's a lot of snow, so it's obviously winter, but the leaves on the trees are green. That's a mismatch. Can you tell what's wrong here? There's a person in outer space, but he's not wearing any spacesuit helmet. Impossible. What about this picture? Do you see something odd? Look, this one is definitely a cat. I don't think it belongs there underwater. Look closely. Do you see a mismatch here? It's obviously night. It's dark outside, but the clock shows that it's 1:30 p.m. It can't be. What do you think about this photo? Anything weird? Pay attention to how this guy right here is dressed. Shorts and a t-shirt are definitely a bit too light for this weather. It's either a mistake or he's crazy. Let's proceed. What's wrong here? The cow right here is too small. It's the size of a chicken, and also the chicken is too big, I think. The police finally tracked a house from where someone was doing illegal online activities. The next day, they broke in, but there was no one there and the house looked abandoned. Dirty, dusty, with broken windows. They decided it was a mistake. What do you think? Does anyone ever come here? Look at this. There's a little bouquet of flowers. It's fresh. If the place had been abandoned, it would have already dried out a long time ago. They definitely should keep watching the house. Jacob comes home from work and finds out that his girlfriend Stella is missing. She never cooks, but she left this weird recipe on the table. Can you figure out where Stella is? These fractions imply the number of letters that we should take from each word on the list. L from the lettuce, O, N from the onion, D, O from the donut, and so on. And this way, we'll get the word London. So Jacob should look for his girlfriend in London. Jacob hits the road and goes to the airport, but unfortunately the main road is closed for repairs. He can only take one of these 3 routes instead. Can you help Jacob make the right choice? Only the 3rd route leads to the final destination. Jacob checks in for a flight, and he still has to check out the local boutiques. There's an imposter among these mannequins. Can you spot him? This one. His eyes are blinking. Hey! It's boarding time. Jacob walks down the airport and spots 4 odd things about this place. Can you see them too? One of the planes is parked vertically. This trash bin is moving on its own. The gate numbering has mirrored digits, and the vending machine is selling raw vegetables. Jacob is ready to take his seat. Suddenly, he faces a mysterious stewardess. She offers him a deal.
Sir, I have 3 boxes for you. If you pick the right one, the entire first class will be yours. If not, you'll be removed from the flight.
Can you figure out which box Jacob should choose? Let's take a closer look at the food emojis printed on the boxes. If we write out the first letters of each ingredient, we'll get false, right, and wrong. So Jacob should pick the second box. Jacob lands in London and goes to the city by train. Can you find 3 zombies in this car? Hello? Jacob checks into a hotel. There's a fancy wedding party going on in the hotel restaurant, but one of these people is not from this planet. Can you guess who? It's the bride. She has 3 hands. Jacob receives an invitation from his girlfriend's kidnapper. Come over and you'll see Stella. Jacob arrives at the meeting point and sees 4 doors. A creepy voice announces, "Your girlfriend is behind one of these doors. If you pick the right door, you're free to go. But if you make the wrong choice, you'll be trapped forever." Which door should Jacob choose? Each door has a line of symbols. If we take the first letter of each symbol, we can arrange 4 female names: Stella, Alice, Miranda, and Bianca. So, Jacob should pick the first door to rescue his girlfriend. Jacob takes Stella to the hotel and goes outside to get some coffee. Oh no, zombies are everywhere! Jacob and a couple of other hotel guests hide in a royal suite. He goes to the kitchen to check the food supply. Suddenly, Jacob hears someone screaming and runs to the living room. He sees a zombie who has already bitten one of the guests. Jacob locks the zombie in the bathroom, and now he has to figure out who's infected. Jacob questions all of them. Stella says,
I was sitting in the closet, and suddenly a zombie ran into the room.
Peter says, I smeared myself with garlic to make the zombies stay away. And Elon says, I protected myself with a tennis racket. I carried it with me all day. That's why zombies didn't bite me. Who's lying? Peter, garlic protects from vampires, not zombies.
Hey!
Jacob and Stella return home safely. After a while, they decide to open a spa hotel outside the city. In the very first days, someone robs them and steals the most expensive beauty products. Jacob looks through the camera footage. He sees a masked person putting things from the storage into a bag and taking them away. Jacob knows for sure that the thief is among his employees, so he questions them. A massage therapist says,
Yesterday, I went home early because my husband got sick. I returned in the morning to work.
The manager says, I didn't sleep all night because one demanding visitor constantly complained. I was solving his problems. And the nail artist says,
I had to wake up last night to do an emergency manicure for my client. She's having an important event early this morning.
Can you spot the thief? It was the nail artist. Her sweater looks exactly the same as the thief's outfit in the camera footage, but she put on an apron on top. The next day, a weird thunderstorm happened in the area of the spa center. Some people received superpowers after looking at the lightning. Jacob decides to find all the superheroes to protect the other people from possible threats. Can you help him spot a superhero in this storage room? This guy's arm is too long. Can you see any superheroes in the lounge area? This cleaning lady is flying without any ropes. Jacob decides to visit the local pool. He leaves his clothes and backpack in a locker in the dressing room and goes swimming. After a while, Jacob returns. Oh no, someone broke the lock and stole his clothes. He decides to question 3 guys standing nearby. Elon says, I spent the last 30 minutes on an exercise bike, and now I'm headed to the shower. I didn't notice anything suspicious. Andrew says, I entered the dressing room a second ago. Your locker was already open. And Olaf says, I was washing my hair in the shower after the sauna, and I didn't hear anything at all. Who's lying? Olaf. If he's just washed his hair, why is it so dry? Jacob receives an emergency call from his manager. One of the guests is not from this planet. Can you spot who? This lady over here. Her skin tone is as green as her facial mask. Another mystery has occurred in the ladies' dressing room. Jessica complains to Jacob that someone has stolen her smartwatch. Jacob finds 3 suspects and questions them. Leah says,
I was on the phone with my manager. I receive a 6-0 paycheck every month. Why would I need to steal gadgets?
Melissa says, I've spent the last 2 hours in the sauna. I don't know what happened here. And Shannon says, I took a shower and then focused on my makeup. Sorry I didn't pay attention to the other guests. Who's lying? Melissa, take a look at the safety sign at the sauna entrance. It's forbidden to stay inside longer than 20 minutes. But according to Melissa's story, she spent 2 hours there. Liar! Jacob is heading to the parking lot, but the back door of the spa center is locked. Someone changed the 7-digit code. Can you guess the code to help Jacob open this door? There's a hint on the door. Each color corresponds with a particular number. Yellow implies 5, orange 2, red 6. So the last number of the code is 6. Stella has just purchased a fancy body lotion. She begins to test it, but something goes wrong. Stella is turning into a toad. Fortunately, she manages to call Jacob and tell him everything before it's too late. Jacob rushes to his witch buddy and gets a potion to turn Stella back into a human. But when he comes home, he sees not 1, but 7 toads. He has to figure out which one of these toads is Stella. Jacob finds a note, and here's what we know for sure. The correct toad isn't green, but it's next to a green one, and it's not next to the last toad in line. Can you find Stella? First of all, we can exclude all the green toads, and now we have 4 options left. The 7th toad is not next to the green one, so let's get rid of it too. Options 2 and 6 can also be excluded because they're both next to the last toads in line. So,